Can you hear me?
I see you. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Do you have the AirPods on, or is that just a speaker?
No, I have the AirPods on.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, you're good.
It's fine? Okay, good. Great. Thank you. Sorry,
okay.
Jackie.
That's okay.
I'm glad you called me last night.
I know, me too.
All right, I'll see you later.
Have a good one. All right, bye.
Bye.
teach it next Thursday. You don't know how to do it at all? Not really. I know that you go to like Zoom and then you go to sign in. You don't even have to go to sign in. You go to Zoom here you're teaching or oh. And then you go to Zoom and then you find what class you're teaching and then click on that. And then it should connect. I mean, you can always call someone or maybe someone Jackie always checks in on me because I didn't screw it up. And then it should be connected to this.
I'm in a class, they lose internet. And I wonder about that. What do they want me to do? Like, I don't really pay attention. Well, I have to do that. Pay attention to the class. I think John's class the other night. It is. There's like one person here, and then he had like two people, and I think he was just trying to do both. Yeah. Hey, how are you? Good. But that, I mean, don't take my advice. That's what you want. I have a hard time. Either like my teacher, I'm so afraid of not missing something. Yeah. Practice the glasses on, so I can't see close.
Yeah. It. Wear both of them. It kind of messed me up a little bit, so I'll just put one in. Nothing. So, can you see? If you go up to the top, it's going to show you participants, and then if you click on that, you'll see if anyone's there. But that's it. Once you go into Zoom, when you pick your class, this will come up. And then I guess here you can mute and unmute them. Maybe not. Oh yeah, gives you the options, but even I can't see either. Like, I don't know how to get that on the screen. Just, it'll come off. Okay. It does. So just.
Somebody's going to say, ask to start video.
Like you could go to chat, ask to unmute, but I don't really mess around with that. It was on the charger, but it wasn't powering up. Like it was on the charger when I came in, but there's no way, so I just grabbed one next door. Oh, that's smart, because I know it's that way. Wow. But usually it's just, you know how to put this one? Oh, okay, done. I thought this one things, but I always had a problem. Yeah. I mean, this is an easier one to connect to.
I'm just trying to test myself.
I need to practice.
Yeah, I get it.
Take the time to practice. You're pretty good about it. I'm going to see you.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing too well. I'm going twice a week.
Even like one of I need it for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I have lights on too. I know. It's freezing. It's nice. Yes. It's so beautiful. Yeah.
Good morning. Can you hear me at home? Good morning. Thank you, Monique. Awesome. Okay, good morning. My name is Margie. I'm subbing for Andrea. And I would like for you to start in child's pose. So sitting at the bottom of the mat. Knees together or apart, big toes are kissing. Try to get the hips down close into the heels and tuck the toes. Walk the hands as far, nice and into a nice active child's pose. A couple of announcements, but I'll go over them after class. So just to connect with our breath, third eye chakra down into the mat, draw in the belly. Go ahead and extend the arms just a little bit more. Begin to inhale through the nose, letting it out with a sigh. Inhale through the nose for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release through the mouth for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And again, inhale through the nose, fill up the lungs, fill up the belly. Maybe at the top, just hold the breath briefly, and then nice and controlled, letting it go through the mouth. One more time, just like that. Inhale through the nose. Once you get to your top, hold it briefly and gently release. Let's go ahead and shift into our Ujjayi breath. So inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the nose. Slight constriction in the back of the throat. Try to equalize that breath. Remind yourself that this is your practice. Just use me as a guide. Whether you want to pull back or push yourself a little bit more, take the options and modifications. Feel whatever feels good for you, whatever you need today from your practice. Remember always to link your breath with your practice. Go ahead and set your intention for your practice today, something to focus on. Draw it into your life, maybe just into yourself for the next hour or so. Now, as you exhale, imagine releasing anything that no longer serves you, thought, idea, circumstance. So always a reminder, this is your restorative pose. Always feel free to come down to child's pose whenever you need some stillness, to connect with your breath. On our next inhale, let's just rise up on the fingertips, nice and high, and then walk them off to the right side of the mat. Reaching a little bit further through that left arm, keeping that head and torso down. On an exhale, let's sweep the right hand back, grab onto the heels, smile the back. Gently rolling that right shoulder forward. On our next inhale, right hand comes up to join the left, rising high on the fingertips, but keeping the torso down, making your way across the mat off to that left side. Reaching a little bit further away through that right arm, the right fingertips. Exhale, left arm comes back. Inhale that right or the left arm up to meet the right, rising on the fingertips, coming back into that child's pose, taking a couple of breaths right there. On your next inhale, rising up to that tabletop. So on all fours, drawing the knees underneath the hips, wrists right underneath the shoulders. Nice neutral spine, so you're looking at the mat. Spread the fingers out nice and wide. Pull in that belly. And we're going to cat-cow here a couple of times. So on the inhale, hips high, chest is out. Open up the throat. As we exhale, go ahead and push through into your cat pose. Inhale for your cow. And exhale for your cat. And again, inhale, cow. And exhale for your cat. Gently dropping the belly back into that tabletop, left hand in the center of the mat. Inhale, right arm nice and high. And then go ahead and thread the needle through. Come down on that right shoulder. Once you're there, go ahead and push those hips to the right side, center them. Option here to rise up through that left leg, nice and high to the sky. Being mindful of that left hip, keep it down. Slide the left hand to the top of the mat and breathe. If the left leg is high, bring it back down. Slide that left hand underneath the left shoulder, rise back up into that tabletop, coming right through, opening up the chest one more time. Right hand comes back down, sliding the right hand in the center. Inhale, left arm nice and high. And then go ahead and sweep it underneath the right. Gently push the hips back into line. So it feels like you're pushing them to the left side of the room. You're just finding your center, maybe rising up through that right leg if you're working on balance and strength. Maybe sliding the right arm to the top of the mat if it's not already there. Good. Right knee comes back down if it's high. Right hand underneath the right shoulder. Rise back up into that tabletop. Open up the chest one last time. And exhale, bring it back down to the mat. Neutral spine. So you're looking down at the mat. Inhale, left arm to the front of the room, and then start rotation for that wrist. Switching directions with the breath. Rising up through the right leg. Keep that right hip down. Pull the belly in a lot. Start rotation for that ankle. Always the option to drop that left hand or keep it extended, lengthening through the fingertips. On our next inhale, arch the back slightly, look forward. Exhale, pull it all in, elbow to knee to elbow, round the spine. Inhale, lengthen, come a little higher, squeeze the glutes. Exhale, draw it all in. One more time to lengthen. Inhale, reach. And exhale, back down to the mat. Right arm to the front of the room, same thing, just warming up, switching directions with the wrist rotation, with the breath. Option to keep it extended or drop it, rising through that left foot. Check in with the hip first, make sure it's down, pull in the belly, then start rotation for that ankle. Switching directions again with the breath. Next inhale, arch the back, look forward, rise up to the arm and leg. Exhale, pull the knee in. Inhale, pull and reach and lengthen. And exhale, constrict. Last time to lengthen. Inhale, reach nice and high. Exhale, pull it all down. Go into a restless lion. So push the hips forward all the way to the right side of the room, all the way down to the heels, to the left, nice and slow. Nice and deep. Be mindful not to rise up through those knees when you're in the opposite direction. And then switch directions when you're ready. Good. Let's go ahead and find our neutral. Find that neutral spine, tuck the toes, and begin to rise up into that downward facing dog, that inverted V. So check that those hip or the feet are about hip distance apart. Pedal out the heels, stretch out the calves, maybe rock the hips back and forth. Find those tight areas, breathe. Maybe take a bend to the knees, draw the chest to the thighs. On your next inhale, rise up through that right leg, nice and high. This time, open up the hip, bend the leg, flex the foot, little circles, little rotation for that hip joint. Switching directions with your breath. Good, go ahead and rise up through that right leg, drop the right hip, right foot comes down to meet the left. Inhale, left leg nice and high, three-legged down dog. Gently open up that left hip, bend the leg, flex the foot. Little circles here. Switching directions. Fully extend that left leg, drop the left hip, left foot comes down, rise up on the tippy toes, and then begin to make your way up to the top of the mat with your hands to hang in ragdoll. Spread the toes out wide, rock forward on the tips and then back on the heels. Grab opposite elbows, let the head hang, check in with the neck. Shake it no, not it yes. Maybe start to sway side to side for that lower back if that feels good. Every exhale, allow yourself to sink just a little bit deeper into that forward fold, that ragdoll. We're gonna release the elbows on the next inhale, rise up halfway. So hands on the shins or the knees, maybe they're still touching the ground. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up halfway and lengthen through the crown. And exhale, fold. One more time, inhale, lengthen, flat back. And exhale, fold. Gonna take a deep bend to that right leg. Right hand's gonna stay down. Inhale, left arm nice and high. Turn the gaze high. Maybe take a half bind or keep flying the left arm high. On an exhale, bring the left hand down or come out of your half bind. Switching legs, deep into the left leg. Inhale, right arm nice and high. Option to take that bind if you'd like, or keep it flying. On an exhale, right arm comes down or out of that bind. And then we start to rise, reaching up nice and high, circle the sun, holding it there, checking it with the shoulders, pulling them down, tucking that pelvis, pulling that belly. Gently push the hips forward, turn your gaze high, slight back bend. Come back into your center, interlace the fingers here, exhale to the right, gaze under the left. Use your obliques, come back into your center with your breath. Exhale to the left. Inhale back into center. One more time. Exhale to the right. Inhale to center. And exhale to the left. Inhale, center. Release the hands. Reach through the fingertips. Push the hips forward again. And try to go a little deeper into that back bend. Come back into your center, drawing your hands to your heart. Dropping the shoulders. Come back to that intention. Inhale, sweep up. Nice big arms. Exhale, forward fold. Excuse me, come all the way through heart center. Inhale, rise halfway, lengthen. And exhale, fold. Plant your hands down and step back into that high plank. So dropping the knees if you need to, otherwise keeping nice and high, pulling the pelvis down, lengthening through the crown all the way down to the heels. Take one deep breath here. As we exhale, chaturanga, come down nice and slow into that low plank. Try to keep it at a hover if you can. Elbows tucked in, then melt down into your mat. Good, untuck the toes. Inhale, rise up, cobra. Just the chest and belly. Keep the shoulders down. Exhale, release. Inhale, rise, cobra. And exhale, down. One more time for cobra. Inhale, rise up, squeeze the glutes. And exhale, release. Let's slide the hands closer to the waist. Rise up for that up dog. Get the hips high. Open up the throat this time. Thighs are at a hover. Exhale, slowly lower down. Inhale, rise for that up dog. And exhale, slowly lower down. One more time. Inhale, rise for up dog. And then flip over the toes and come back into that downward facing dog. Let's go through our sun salutations. We'll start off nice and slow and then start to increase the speed a little bit. Listen to yourself though. Do what you feels right. If you want to skip a flow, always come down to that child's pose, but keep it active. So on our next inhale, go ahead and look at the hands. Step, hop, or float to the top of the mat. Inhale, sweep up, circle the sun. Exhale, draw your hands to your heart. Inhale, sweep big arms with intention. Exhale, forward fold all the way down. Inhale, rise halfway, lengthen. And exhale, fold. Step or hop back into that high, coming right down to your low, keeping it fluid. Inhale, sweep up for your up dog. And exhale, push back into that down dog. 2 breaths right here. Pedaling out the heels if you'd like, maybe just finding stillness, returning to that breath. Maybe rocking out the hips. On your next inhale, turn the gaze to the hands. Step, hop, or float to the top of the mat. Inhale, sweep up, circle the sun. Exhale, draw your hands to your heart. Inhale, sweep. And exhale, fold all the way down. Inhale, rise halfway, lengthen. And exhale, fold. Step or hop back into that high plank. Come right down to your low. Inhale, up dog. And exhale, push back. Good. Couple of breaths right here. On our next inhale, gaze at the hands. Step, hop, or float to the top of the mat. Inhale, sweep up, circle the sun. Exhale, draw your hands to your heart. Draw those shoulders down. Inhale, sweep. And exhale, forward fold all the way down. Inhale, rise halfway, lengthen. And exhale, fold. Step or hop back into your high. Come right down to your low, nice and fluid. Inhale for your up dog. Good, and exhale, push back into that down dog. 1 breath here, 2 more rounds together. Inhale, turn your gaze to your hands. Step, hop, or float to the top of the mat. Inhale, sweep up, lengthen through. Exhale, draw your hands to your heart. Inhale, sweep. And exhale, fold. Inhale, rise halfway, lengthen. And exhale, fold. Step or hop back into that high. Come right down to your low. Inhale, up dog. And exhale, push back. Beautiful. 1 more round, no cueing on your own time. 1 more breath. So meeting in down dog whenever you get there. Taking a breath or 2 here. On our next inhale, begin to rise through that right leg again. 3-legged down dog, nice and high. On our exhale, knee to chest, shift forward, high plank. Inhale, sweep up nice and high to the sky. Exhale, knee to right elbow. Inhale, reach nice and high. Exhale to the left, cross over. Inhale, reach. And then this time, stepping right through for that warrior 1. Rising up through those arms. Just checking in with yourself. Left foot's at a 45. Deep bend to that right leg. Pulling the belly, tucking the hips. Check in with the shoulders. Pull them down. Reaching, lengthening through the fingertips. To reverse our warrior. Open up the chest. Use that left hand for balance or support, or maybe go right into that half bind if you're ready. On our next inhale, cartwheel into your side angle. Right elbow on the right knee, reaching nice and high through that left arm. If you want to go deeper, right hand on the inside. On an inhale, shift to that extended. So really reaching for the front of the room through that left arm. Gazing under the left arm, beautiful. On our next inhale, we're gonna cartwheel all the way into our reverse. Nice and slow, nice and controlled. And then one more time, come into your side angle. Pausing there, then shifting into that extended. Beautiful. Right hand comes up to join the left. Hold it there. Begin to pivot from the hips. Look down at the mat. Still reaching for the front of the room. Inhale, rise up, warrior one. Exhale, hands behind the back. Interlace the fingers. Puff out the chest. Open the throat. Lead with the heart into that humble warrior. Wherever that torso stops, go ahead and drop the head. Pull in those hips. Try to rise up through those hands. On our next inhale, release the hands. Rise up through the arms, warrior one. Exhale, hands behind the back, interlace the fingers, puffing out the chest. Come into that humble warrior one last time. Rising up through those hands, holding it there for a breath. Go to release the hands to the mat, pivot on the left toes. Let's fire up that left side. Push the heel to the back of the room. Tighten up the glutes. On our next inhale, rise up for that crescent lunge. So start to bend the left knee if you need to. Tuck in that pelvis, reach nice and high. Exhale, hands down. One more time. Inhale, sweep up, crescent lunge. Exhale, bring them back down. Left hand stays down. Inhale, right arm nice and high. Nice. On an exhale, right hand comes down. Drop that left knee. Come into that low lunge. Untuck the toes. Hands on that right knee. Gently push those hips forward, especially the left one, because it's going to want to pull back. Pull forward. Inhale, reach up high. Exhale, take that slight back bend. Open up the chest. Inhale, reach. We're going to take a twist to the right on an exhale. Nice and wide. Good. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, hands down to the mat. Left hand stays down. Again, right arm high. Go ahead and take a half bind here. So gazing over that right shoulder. You want to go a little deeper. Reach around back. Grab that left foot. One more breath right here. If you have the left foot, gently release, rise up through that half bind, and then the right hand comes down to meet the left, shifting into a half split. So walk the hands back. Hips are over that left knee. If you want to go a little bit further, you can come down onto that heel. Flex or point that right toe, pull that right hip back just a little bit. Good. Keep high on the fingertips and gently forward fold, finding your limit, finding your edge. Breathe. On your next inhale, turn your gaze towards that right foot. If you're on your heel, rise up. Begin to walk the hands to the top of the mat. Tuck the left toes, come high, step back into your downward facing dog. Taking 2 breaths here. On your next inhale, rise up through that left leg, nice and high, 3-legged down dog. Exhale, pull it into your chest, high plank. Inhale, sweep, nice and high. Exhale, left knee to left elbow. Inhale, sweep. And then cross over on the exhale this time. Inhale, sweep. And exhale, step it through for your warrior one. Rising up through those arms. Checking in with yourself. Nice deep into that left leg. Check in with the shoulders, pull them down. Reverse your warrior, open up the chest. Cartwheel into your side angle. Reach nice and high through that right arm. So that left elbow on the left knee, if you want to go deeper, bring it down onto the ground. The inside of that left foot. Shift into that extended. Reach, lengthen. On our next inhale, we're going to cartwheel all the way into that reverse. Maybe go into that half bind this time. Cartwheel into your side angle, pausing there. And then shifting into that extended. Beautiful. Reach, reach, reach. Left arm comes up to join the right. Hold it there. Begin to pivot from the hips. Look down at the mat. Inhale, rise up, warrior one. Exhale, hands behind the back this time. Interlace the fingers. Puff out the chest. Open up the throat. Come into that humble warrior. Remember, wherever that torso naturally stops, continue with the head so the crown is hovering. Rise up through those hands, pull those hips into line. Good, let's go ahead and release those hands nice and slow. Reach up for the sky into that warrior one. Exhale, hands behind the back, interlace the fingers. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, puff out the chest. Lead with the heart into your humble warrior. Again, dropping the head, pulling the hips in, rising through the hands. On our next exhale, release those hands, pivot on the right toes. Nice high lunge here. Push that heel to the back of the room. Tighten up the glutes. Right hand stays down. Inhale that left arm nice and high. Good, left hand comes down. Let's come into that crescent lunge. Sorry, start to bend that right leg a little bit. Rise up through the arms. As we exhale, nice and slow, fingertips back down to the mat. One more time. Inhale, rise up. Let's hold it here. Tuck in that pelvis, draw that right hip forward. And exhale, bring the hands back down. Let's drop the right knee, untuck the toes. Come into that low lunge. Gently adjust your hips. Push the right hip forward so they're nice and square. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, take that slight back bend. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Inhale, reach up. We're taking the twist to the left. Open up. Good. Inhale, come back to center. And exhale, hands down to the mat. Let's come into that half split. Walk the hands back. Shifting the weight onto that right knee. Gently pulling that left hip back. If it's too much for a knee, go ahead and come down to your heel. Flex or point that left leg. Flexing it to go deeper. Drop the head. Gentle forward fold. Use your hands for support. On our next inhale, turn your gaze to that left hand, foot. If you're on your heel, rise up. Let's start to walk the hands forward. Right hand's gonna plant down. Inhale, left arm nice and high. Beautiful. Exhale, take a half bind. And then from here, if you wanna go deeper, go ahead and grab onto that right foot, peeling that left shoulder back, opening up the chest. If you took that option, gently release the right leg. Let's come out of our half bind. Exhale, left arm down to join the right. Tuck the right toes, stepping back into our downward facing dog. Go ahead and rock those hips side to side. Begin to walk the hands to the bottom of the mat to join the feet. We're gonna set up for our chair pose. Bring the hips down, tuck in that pelvis, pull in the belly, sweep up when you're ready. So once you're there, bring the hips down a little bit more, tuck in that pelvis. Nice deep inhale here. As we exhale, bring your hands to your heart and go into that twist to the left. So try to get the right elbow on the outside of the left knee without even looking at it. Pull back that right knee so it's in line with the left or that right hip. Release the arms here if that's in your practice. Good, hands back to heart center. Let's face forward in chair, in prayer. Exhale, forward fold. And then again, begin to bend the knees, bring those hips down, set up for that chair. Reach nice and high through those fingertips. Draw your hands to your heart. On the bottom of an exhale, take that twist to the right. Gaze is high. Draw the hips down a little more if you can. Pull that left knee back. Release the arms here if that's in your practice. Nice job. Hands back to heart center. Come back into chair and prayer. We're gonna push through our heels and rise up, reaching, lengthening through the body, reaching for the sky. As we exhale, be mindful, keep that belly in, come back into that chair and prayer. 3 more times. Inhale, reach, lengthen, and exhale down. With intention, inhale, reach. Once you reach, go ahead and rise up through the kneecaps. Exhale, lower down. 1 more time. Inhale, reach, and exhale, lower down. Exhale, go ahead and forward fold. Walk the hands back into your downward facing dog here. Inhale, right leg nice and high. Stepping forward for dragon, half on, half off. A lot of options here to stay off of that left knee for strength. You wanna go deeper into flexion. Go ahead and drop the knee, untuck the toes. Option to stay on the palms. Maybe walk the hands off the mat, maybe come down to the forearms. Breathe into that right hip. So from here, if you're low, come up onto those palms again. We're gonna pivot on that right heel, bring the toes on the mat for your lizard. So if you're still high off of that left knee, go ahead and drop it down. And then from here, we're gonna rock out onto the right side of our foot. Open up that hip just slightly, good. And then from here, if you wanna drop back down to your forearms, go ahead and do so, or walk the hands off the mat. You can always fly your lizard. Take a half bind. Whatever feels good, playing around with all of them. So if you are in a half bind, come out of your half bind. If you're flying your lizard, bring it back down, that left arm down. Make your way up to those palms if you're not already there, and then drop that right foot down so the sole of the foot's on the mat. You feel that right knee on the outside of that left foot. Go ahead and tuck the left toes, and we're stepping all the way back into that downward facing dog. Go ahead and rock out the hips. Inhale, left leg high, and then go ahead and step it forward for that dragon, half on, half off. Again, I'm gonna just walk you through all the options. So stay high off that right leg, maybe drop it down, untuck the toes, maybe come down to those forearms, or even lower, breathing into that left leg. So if you are on the forearms, go ahead and rise up on those hands first, pivot, and if your left or right knee is off of the ground, go ahead and bring it back down into the mat. Pivot on the left heel, bring the toes on, so you should feel that left knee on the outside of that left shoulder. Gently rock out onto the side of that left foot, finding your limit, and then maybe coming back down to the forearms, maybe flying your lizard, playing around with it here, maybe taking that half bind. If you are in a bind, gently make your way out, flying that left arm high, bring it back down to the mat, rising up onto those hands, and then go ahead and bring that left knee in. Tuck the right toes, come up off of that knee, step back into that downward facing dog. Once you're there, begin to walk the hands to the bottom of the mat. Inhale, sweep up, circle the sun. Exhale, draw your hands to your heart. And then we're gonna go into our tree. So rising up through the right side first, either just the heel, the shin, the inside of the thigh, maybe lotus, anywhere but the inside of the knee. Finding your drishti point, something to focus on that's not moving. Wherever you find that right foot, go ahead and lengthen through that left side. Pull that left hip in just slightly. Drop the shoulders down. Maybe take cactus arms, squeezing the shoulder blades together. Maybe those branches rise. Let's go ahead and interlace the fingers at the top, index finger out if you can. We're gonna shift right into our warrior three. So begin to rise up through that right leg, kicking it out to the back of the room, hinging from the hips, dropping the torso, lengthening through those arms. If this isn't working for you, maybe releasing the arms to the side, maybe hands on the hips. Make sure that right hip is down, flexing that right leg. Hands can be at heart center. Good. Release those arms, bring them all the way down to the mat. Drop the head, point the toes on the right foot, rise up nice and high, standing split. Maybe grab onto that left leg to challenge yourself a little bit, maybe with one hand, maybe with both. Good. Either staying right here, playing around, or going into your half moon. So left hand would stay down, open up that right hip, rising up through that right arm, nice and high. Maybe rising up off of the left, maybe turning the gaze towards your right hand. Good. If you're in half moon, drop that right hand, Drop the right hip, right foot comes down to meet the left. Inhale, sweep up, circle the sun. Exhale, draw your hands to your heart, going right into tree on the left side. Again, whether it's just your heel, the foot, the shin, the thigh, or lotus. Wherever it is, find your spot and then rise up higher through that right side. Pull the right hip in. When you're ready, try to take cactus arms. Maybe the branches grow. Reach nice and high. Interlace the fingers if you can, index finger out. Holding it there briefly before you shift into that warrior three. So begin to kick out with that left leg. If you're struggling with balance, you could always bring the left toes on the mat, hinging from the hips. Just a modified version, your choice. Release the hands down to the mat, rise up through that left leg, standing split. Again, a lot of options here. You can always try to grab onto that right foot, both hands, maybe just the right arm. And you can play around right there or maybe shift into that half moon. So opening up that left hip, right hand stays down, rise up through that left arm. And also try to come off of that right arm. You can always grab onto that left leg. Beautiful, nice job. Good, let's go ahead and bring that left arm down. If you're in half moon, drop that left hip, left foot comes down. Inhale, sweep up, rise. Exhale, swan dive down this time. Lead with the heart. Hands all the way down to the mat. Shift them forward, going into our half pigeon. So rising up, three-legged down dog. Draw that right knee all the way up to that right wrist. Untuck the left toes. Drop your left knee down. Adjust the right foot if you need to. Bring it a little higher maybe. On an exhale, walk the hands off the mat. Maybe just drop down to those forearms. If your forehead, that third eye chakra is down into the mat, maybe swing those arms to the back wall, gently rolling those shoulders forward. Hey, Joanne, didn't see you were here. Give yourself one or two more breaths right here. Begin to rise up through that torso, sitting deep in those hips, planting the hands down. Just go into that transition, rising up into that downward facing dog. Taking a breath right there in down dog. Inhale, left leg nice and high. And then slowly shift into that half pigeon. So that left knee up by the left wrist, the right or that left heel in the groin, or maybe a little higher. Untuck the right toes and then begin your forward fold. Again, if that forehead, that third eye chakra makes it to the ground, maybe releasing the arms behind you, gently rolling those shoulders forward. Let's give ourselves a couple more breaths right here. And then take your time, slowly rising through that torso, and then gently rolling over that left hip. Let's swing the legs out in front of us. So into a staff posture, go ahead and extend the legs. Sitting up nice and tall, make sure the shoulders are over those hips. Inhale, sweep up, hinging from the hips. Forward fold. So dropping the head, either grabbing onto those legs, the feet, the ankles, maybe embracing the legs and taking a slight bend to the legs. Using your breath Just 3 breaths here. Every exhale, gently pulling yourself down a little bit further. Go ahead and release that grip wherever it is. Extend those arms to the front of the room. If you have a bend to the legs, try to extend them. Hinging from the hips, rising up, standing up, sitting up nice and tall. Exhale, hands to your sides. Go ahead and cross the right leg over the left. Option to keep that left leg extended or tuck it. Hug in that right leg with the left arm or pull it in with that left hand. Inhale, sweep the right hand up. Exhale, bring it behind you, gazing over that right shoulder. After taking a breath or 2 here, maybe bringing that left elbow on the outside of that right knee, maybe going into a half bind, full bind if that's in your practice, and breathe. If you are in a full bind, gently come out. Inhale, rise up through that right arm. Just a counter stretch, walk them to the left side of the mat. Then come back and find your center. Extending the left leg. If it's tucked, come down on that right hip. You want to feel your sits bones are down into the ground. Take your left hand on the outside of that right foot, rise up through that right leg. Initially keeping a nice bend, go ahead and stick the chest, other arm, left hand on the right foot. So you're crossing over. We're gonna rise up through that right arm. Exhale to the back of the room. Gaze follows that right hand. From here, if you can extend the right leg without rounding out the spine and reaching, go ahead and extend it. If not, keep a bend. Just find that limit. Find your edge, as always. If you want to play around a little bit more, go ahead and lean back as much as you can, and then maybe rise up through that left leg to a hover. Beautiful, nice job. The left leg is high, gently bring it back down, rise up through that right arm. Let's grab onto that right foot, deep into that right leg. Drop the head and gently push through. So you're feeling a nice stretch in your back and the back of that right leg. And then just go ahead and release, shake out the knees. We're gonna cross the left leg over the right. Option to keep the right leg extended or tuck it. Hug in that left leg with the right arm this time. Inhale, reach up high. Exhale, left arm behind you. Gaze over that left shoulder. Maybe go into a half bind, maybe a full bind if that's in your practice. Maybe when you're ready, maybe just bringing the right elbow on the outside of the left knee for a deeper twist. Good. If you're in a full bind, gently come out. If you're in a half bind, gently release. Rise up through that left arm, just a counter stretch over to that right side, making your way back into your center. On your sits bones, right hand on the outside of the left foot. Rise up through that left foot, deep into that left leg at first. Drop your shoulders down. Inhale, reach. Exhale to the back of the room. Gaze follows that left arm. Good. From here, maybe extend the left leg if that feels good, and then maybe play around, rising up through that right leg. Good. If the right leg is high, gently bring it down. Left arm crosses over, reaches for that left foot. Drop the head. Go ahead and start to kick through. Feeling a nice stretch over here. Let's go ahead and release. Shake out those knees. Slide the feet onto the mat to set up for that boat pose. So if you're working on your balance and that strength, hands can be behind you at first. Stick out that chest, nice flat back. Rise up through those feet halfway through. So hands can stay on the mat or engage the arms. You could also support the legs. You're still working that core. Or engage the arms for full expression. We're gonna go from high to halfway down. So on an inhale, rise up. So if you're not using your hands, you can still do the legs. Exhale, halfway down. Inhale, sweep up. And exhale, halfway down. 2 more times. Inhale, rise. Exhale, lower. Inhale, rise. And exhale, lower. Hold it there. Take a nice deep inhale here. As we exhale, we're gonna slowly release down into our mat. So once you're down on the mat, bring the knees into your chest, tuck the pelvis. Try to get the small of the mat or back to kiss the mat. Hug those knees in, rock side to side. Go ahead and start to rise up through those legs into your waterfall. So flexing the feet at the top, checking in with the shoulder blades. You want them down into the mat. Rise up through those hands. Spread the fingers out nice and wide. Pull the belly in a lot. Come back to that Ujjayi breath. Slow it down. Option here to stay in your waterfall. It is an inversion in itself. Or go ahead and rise up into shoulder stand if that's in your practice. Supporting the lower back. If you're close enough to the wall, you can use the wall when you try to come into plow. So try not to look side to side. Lengthen through the toes. Holding it there. On an exhale, maybe shifting into a plow. So lengthening through the legs, not necessarily touching the ground. If you are close enough to a wall, you can always use the wall, maybe walk down it. Maybe release that lower back, extend those arms underneath you. If you are in plow and deaf man's pose is in your practice, spread the knees. Take a nice deep bend to those knees. Giving yourself a couple of breaths here in deaf man's pose. If you are in deaf man's pose, go ahead and gently shift back into that plow pose. Extend those legs, bring the knees in. Maybe support that lower back before rising back into that shoulder stand. Try to keep it nice and fluid. Good job. And then again, from shoulder stand, if you're in shoulder stand, begin to guide those hips down, or if you could just use your core to gently bring the hips back down to the mat, that would be ideal. So we should all be in waterfall. On our inhale, we're going to start to lead with the heels, bring them to a hover down over the mat, and then we're going to extend those arms over our head, reaching for that back wall. As we exhale, bring it essentially back into waterfall. A few times here, just working on those abs. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, nice and slow, constrict to that waterfall. Again, inhale, lengthen. And exhale, pull it all in. Once you're in waterfall, bend the knees, draw them into your chest. And then let's go ahead and extend that left leg as you're hugging that right knee in, nice and tight. Go ahead and draw it out to the side for that wind removing pose. Begin to rock it back and forth as you're hugging it in. Draw your attention over to that left leg. It should be active, so not just laying there. It's extended, reaching through the toes to that front wall or the top of your mat. Let's bring that right knee back into your chest. Draw the left knee in, just switching directions or switching sides. Extend that right leg. Gently hug that left knee into your side. Begin to rock it gently back and forth. Left knee comes back into your chest. Let's bring up that right knee again, and then we're going to go into that happy baby. So rising through those feet, grabbing onto your toes, your feet, your ankles, maybe even your calves. Nice flat back, keeping the head down, using that upper body strength to draw those knees closer and wider apart, closer to the mat and wider from each other. Maybe rock your baby if that feels good on your spine and that lower back. Let's go ahead and pull the soles of the feet together. Knees spread out nice and wide. Sukhatasana, release those legs back down to the mat, extend them. And then go ahead and bring that right knee in again. Extend the right arm to the right side of the room. Turn your gaze to the right side. We're going to go into that spinal twist. So guide that left knee over to the left side of the mat, or that right knee over to the left side of the mat, sorry. But as you're doing that, be mindful of that right shoulder blade. You still want it to touch the mat. So if you're off of that right shoulder blade, come out of that twist just a little bit until you feel the mat underneath the right shoulder, then twisting from the waist. And then always the option is stay here in this perfect spinal twist. Or if you need a little extra, you can always bend that left leg underneath, grab onto that left foot with the right hand, maybe extend that right leg to the left side of the room, holding on to the right foot with the left hand. Your choice. If you've taken either of those two options, gently come out, come back into your spinal twist. And then we all gently roll onto our back, switching legs, being mindful about it, hugging that left leg a lot. Extend the left arm, turn your gaze over that left arm. Extend that right leg initially and begin to guide that left knee over to the right side of the mat. And then draw attention to that left shoulder blade this time. Make sure it's still touching your mat. So option is stay in this perfect spinal twist again, or if you need, like you feel like your body needs a little bit more, you can always bend that right leg, grab onto the right foot with the left hand, maybe extend the left leg to the right side of the room. If you've taken either of those two options, let's gently come out into that spinal twist and gently roll onto your back. Hug those knees in one last time. Rise up through the head, tuck the chin. Let's gently drop the head back down into the mat. Extend those legs, bring them out to a nice wide V. Arms out to a nice wide V. We're gonna go into eagle pose on our back. So right leg over the left, interlacing them. Bending at the knees, cross the left arm over the right, keep the elbows nice and high. So option to just hold it here, or maybe rise, try to get the elbows and knees to touch, rising through the head, engaging the core even more. Couple of breaths. If your head is off the mat, elbows and knees are touching, gently come back down to the mat. We're gonna open up the arms, open up the legs, back to a nice wide V, feeling a slight stretch, and then left leg crosses over the right. Interlace the legs first, right arm over the left, opposite, and then go ahead and interlace them, bending at the elbows and knees, keeping them nice and high. And then always the option here, if you need a little more, go ahead and bring those elbows and knees in together, rising through the head. If you're high off of your mat, go ahead and gently bring your head back down. Let's bring our arms and legs out to that nice wide V. Keep the arms right where they are, so you're bringing them to a T. Legs come in where the soles of the feet are touching, drawing them closer to your tailbone. Knees spread out nice and wide for that Sukhatasana. Let's give ourselves a nice big hug. So right over left, try to grab onto those shoulder blades. The bottom of your exhale, open up the arms nice and wide, giving ourselves one last hug, left over right. At the bottom of that exhale, releasing the arms to your sides, palms up, settling into our Shavasana. We still have some time. If there's anything that you feel like your body still needs, just take a couple of moments to take those postures. You could take your Shavasana just like this, Sukhatasana, legs spread out nice and wide, or maybe extend them to the bottom of the mat as wide as your mat. Gently close those eyes. I am gonna come around to everyone in class, in studio, with a cool cloth. If you don't want a cool cloth, just put a hand on your belly. I'll know to skip over you. So Shavasana, go ahead and soften the forehead. Come into a relaxed breath. whether it's through the nose, the mouth, both. Notice your chest and your belly. Allow them to rise and fall with your breath naturally. Release those abdominal muscles, just relax them. Notice your hips and your glutes. Soften the glutes. Try to clear your mind. Give yourself this gift of stillness, of rest, of recuperation. Let's begin to bring awareness back into the room. Begin to deepen your breath and wiggle your toes and your fingers. Maybe blink your eyes open. Discover true power. Much of our journey involves learning about power. We learn about the powers we don't have and the power to control others, sometimes ourselves and fate. We discover our true power, the power to take an endless journey into freedom and love. We talk about experience and experiment with many kinds of power along the way, and the power of authority, the power of money, the power of prestige, the power of control, the power of rage, anger, intimidation. We see many kinds of negative powers, manipulation, deceit, fraud. We see people trying to steal power from others. We see people letting others take their power away, crawling into shells and hiding and being dragged along by others. We see that many forms of power are illusions. Money goes just so far, prestige is fleeting, popularity holds no immunity from life's experiences, and control is only momentary. We turn our backs and the situation reverts. We trudge the road searching for power, learning about our own, and somewhere on the journey, we begin to see the truth. It awakens quietly within us, shaking our souls, transforming our vision, teaching us what we knew all along. The power that lasts, the power that stays is the power of the heart. Stillness, faith, gentleness, kindness, compassion, joy, forgiveness, comfort, honesty, courage, and love. That's what true power is. Thank you for sharing your practice with me today. The light and love in me honors, respects, and recognizes the light and love in each and every one of you. For that we are one, we are the same. Please go in peace. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And together we say, Namaste. Namaste. I'm just gonna make those couple of announcements.
Thank you, Margie.
Thank you so much. Have a good day. The retreat in Isla Morada, it's April 8th to 12th. There's 2 rooms left with double occupancy. And memberships include classes in New Smyrna, if you didn't know. And we have a sale through the 25th, which is 15% off of all retail. Bye, have a good weekend.